invite the panelists on stage. I'll start with Mr. Manoj Rajan, Additional Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms, Government of Karnataka. Mr. Manoj Rajan, you're requested to join us on the stage, sir. A round of applause for our new speakers for the new session. Then I invite Mr. Korath V. Mathew, Senior Manager Projects, Unique Identification Authority of India, UIDAI. A round of applause for our new speakers. Then we have a speaker from industry, Mr. Srikanth, Karnakota, Head Servers and Cloud Platform, Microsoft India. So please join us on the stage. So to start with this new session on initiatives and innovations in e-governance, firstly I will invite for industry presentation Mr. Srikanth Karnakota, Head of Servers and Cloud Platform Business, Microsoft India.
So very good evening to all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for this opportunity to be able to talk about how cloud is impacting the various facets of the government business. And indeed, a lot of these learnings have come in the last few years as we were working through many departments across the board, leveraging both the private cloud and the public cloud. And I think today we had some fascinating discussions. The earlier set of sessions really outlined some new opportunity areas. What I'll try and do in the next few minutes is just outline 4 key opportunity areas and how sort of cloud with mobile and with analytics and social is really addressing those big opportunity areas in the government. I'll try and give as many examples so that we have the context around where this is coming from. Just to start with, Microsoft also had this sort of a learning and trajectory over the course. In fact, as we look at pretty much a large set of state-owned data centers or even NIC, in pretty much all the data centers you have Microsoft private cloud powering them up. And that's been sort of a journey for us. And there were plenty of learnings that came across the board, whether you're talking about having these hybrid clouds as well running. So let's start with those 4 key points that I just wanted to make. Starting with the first one, that this whole notion of security, privacy and all is completely taken up and gotten into a lot of multiple level of details as you look at public cloud. And here's where we believe what is really helping the world and truly sort of government is the notion of hybrid cloud. Like, if I were to just ask the question, like, how many of you here have gone deep around hybrid cloud or understood it? Just a show of hands will give me some context around that. Okay, so I know a lot of followers are there, a lot of folks back in have raised their hands as well. But that just tells that hybrid is becoming a real thing. And many of you might ask, what's different around hybrid? Across many government facets, what we're observing is there are a lot of benefits of a public cloud, but then there are a lot of regulatory requirements, compliance requirements, and other areas where public cloud, despite all its advantages, is not able to reach out or be able to help provide some solutions. And this is where we have seen massive growth around hybrid scenarios. In fact, after me, we will have a few more presenters who are going to touch upon those areas. And in the end, I will also talk about a large company which has completely gone around a public cloud notion. So where is hybrid really taking on? Hybrid across the board is giving best of both worlds. It's about giving you the control, the compliance, and all that you need in an environment that you manage, you run, you take care of in your own data centers. At the same time, give you very good advantage in terms of extending all the benefits of a public cloud. Let me give an example, and I will use one of Microsoft's own example, but I will also share an example in one of the large state departments and even the state of Barcelona, which went around this mode. Microsoft own example starts with our own performance management system. In fact, that's a great case where every year almost 100,000 or more employees of Microsoft are going through a process. In fact, right now it is a process where you go through appraisals and there is a lot of evaluation that happens. But that particular application is only used 2 times a year. Now the best place to run a workload of that nature is public cloud. Because you use that app only 2 times a year, more than 100,000 employees access it, which means a lot of servers and all have to be provisioned to be able to enable that. And then, once you're done with it, what happens to all those servers? What happens to all that capacity for that particular app? You can't scale that down. But public cloud is again a beautiful example. But at the same time, we had a challenge in terms of putting our employee data onto a public cloud for many compliance regulations as well. And the idea was to see, can we look at a hybrid cloud option? And truly that was an option that came up where all the employee data of Microsoft resides within our own private data centers, within our own firewall. But all the compute, all the processing that you need, which is truly the power of public cloud, is sitting on Azure, which is a Windows Microsoft platform for massive scale public cloud. And then you're getting best of both worlds. Control and compliance for the data sitting locally, compute, processing, the whole set of 100,000 hits that are going to hit only in those few days of appraisals, they are going to hit on a public cloud workload. So this is truly the power of hybrid coming into motion. You're separating data tiers and compute tiers in a way which basically gives advantages of both the worlds coming together. And this was a very Microsoft example. I'm going to extend it out to one very large implementation, state of Barcelona, when they host these massive games and almost 1 million tourists visit them. And right from all the data that is related to their social aspects to a lot of privacy and personal data that cannot be put on any public cloud is run by state of Barcelona in a hybrid environment. So they use all the social, Facebook, Twitter for all the visitors that is coming in, their integrations with the login that they provide on a public cloud, which is Azure, but all the private data for its own citizens and many other nuanced information that cannot be put on is run by their own data centers. And that's a beautiful world that's emerging for the whole aspects of government, which is how do you leverage the power of both the clouds, the private cloud and the public cloud, but much more importantly in a way that becomes truly hybrid. And those are many such examples as we look at it, but this is just the first point I wanted to make around where we are seeing ICT impact and how hybrid is making the most sense in public sector scenarios. Now let's come to the second aspect, and that's about making a business impact around thankfully, I don't have any presentation that you see, so I'll be talking you through these examples. The second example that I'm really talking about, and it's a massive, massive untapped opportunity today, it's about getting data insights or the voluminous data that we already have. In fact, if you just look at walking to any government department in today, any public sector opportunity, there is loads and loads of information, some digitized, some is not, but there is plenty of information across many scenarios, and this information has to be funneled into, most importantly, insights. Now, when our new Prime Minister keeps talking about fast governance, getting into a decision-making mode, to be able to make decisions, you need insights. You need those critical inputs to come and say, hey, this is the right way to move forward. This is what data is telling us very specifically. And all of the data processing has to happen on a public cloud platform is the best place to make it happen. I work with a lot of companies in healthcare or manufacturing, and it's very easy for them to be able to figure that to be able to run a high performance computing workload, HPC workload, with thousands of servers on for example, the largest pharmaceutical company in India has to do clinical trials. Clinical trials is a lot about patient record information as well. And that's private data that can't run on a sort of a public cloud in many places. They have FDA regulations they have to adhere to. But where do you run compute in such a way where in a matter of few minutes you can provision 3,000 servers, do a massive compute, and bring that workload back into your private environment without compromising on privacy, security, and all those concerns that come in? Again, the option is to be able to run these kind of workloads on a public or a sort of a hybrid environment. So analytics is becoming very, very critical, and increasingly as India moves forward in terms of decision making and a faster governments, data insights become super critical. And to be able to land that, we have this other option that we are talking about where both structured data and unstructured data, these two words are coming very, very close to each other. And many of you might ask, hey, what exactly do you mean by these two words coming together? I see these two words coming together predominantly in government and public sector scenarios. For example, when we are talking about tracking voice calls, and especially when our security agencies for many of our country's defense purposes has to track calls, has to track thousands of records, whether it's newspaper records or unstructured data, what tools do they use to be able to do that? We need to be able to do video analytics as well as text analytics. All of this is not put in any structured database today. It is all lying in multiple files at many places in unstructured format. And this is where at Microsoft we have been working with several governments worldwide, but in India we believe there is an unprecedented massive opportunity to bring this unstructured data sitting on multiple clouds and structured data that is sitting within the government itself, and being able to query them both to bring very meaningful insights. I typically take the example of a large retailer in India. When I walk into the shop, he's the CIO of a large company. He's the largest retail company in India. And he says, Srikanth, like when I know a person walks into my store, I know exactly what they spend, because I have these loyalty cards for this particular retailer, and I know what he buys, what brands he prefers, how much he purchases in a month, but I have no idea what that person does outside my shop, right? And this is one of the largest retailers. So can I do, without invading on privacy and other concerns, is there a way by which we can figure out what do those individuals of that demographic profile do? Now you know what, the intelligence for all of this doesn't lie in our databases, doesn't lie in that retailer's database. But Consumer Survey of India publishes a very detailed report around demographic preferences by age group. And when you marry the data that is lying in some public cloud with the data that is lying with the retailer, we were able to come with some fascinating insights which help the retailer make some decisions. For example, we figured out the average person who walks into a shop is a Radio Mirchi listener, prefers Maruti as a car brand, and pays insurance premium to the tune of 20,000. That's their average. It's not Mr. Sharma or Miss Gayatri or someone that we didn't go into the specifics of the individuals. It is a demographic profile card. But it's very, very useful for the retailer to be able to now take a very informed decision about the kind of programs they're going to run. Now think about the same scenario in the government world. There is a lot to be done with the data that we already have, provided we are able to hum and run those engines which are there in the public cloud, marry them with data on the private cloud or in your own data centers, and come with some very powerful insights. And SQL Server is a platform that's connected to the cloud that helps do that. So that's the second aspect that I wanted to bring. The first one was hybrid. The second one was about data analytics and integrity there. The third element is how do you enable faster and secure ways of accessing data. And this is basically an extension of the first point, which is around hybrid. And this is where, if you look at the way cloud platform technologies are being built, whether it's for massive government to consumer scale scenarios, public distribution systems, education, healthcare, That's where public cloud is the best suited for, because you're talking of millions of servers churning out, a lot of advantages that you get in there. But the moment you bring into department to department contracts, or within the government side of strict privacy controls and regulations that are required, that's all in the private cloud domain. And security between these two is tied to a most important element, and that's called identity. Very few people get this, that hybrid cloud is basically built on some fundamental fabrics related to identity management and security, and core of that security layer is with identity. With Microsoft, we have been innovating around this area for a long time, and both on the private cloud and on the public cloud, a common identity layer that cuts across these areas, so that the person who is authenticated to see some document doesn't get access to all of the documents that his boss has access to. Basically putting together this level of controls across the board. And this is across clouds, and this is not just with the Microsoft cloud or with some third-party cloud. This cuts across your data center, Microsoft cloud, a third-party cloud like an Amazon or some other vendor who has it, or a hoster who's running these applications, a common framework that cuts across. And this is the third critical element that I wanted to bring around how cloud is becoming sort of the way, and the way forward is to leverage hybrid security. The final point which I'd like to make is being a lot more thoughtful about which applications will run where. Now this is exactly the problem that large enterprises are going through today. Every CIO that we talk to, that we come into contact, would tell us, I'm not going to move everything to cloud. I will move these workloads to cloud, public cloud first. I'm going to run some of these workloads on my private cloud. And by the way, there are some that my hoster or the third-party data center is going to run. But how do we create a framework wherein all these set of application categories are made in a simple way, wherein you can actually make a public cloud, a private cloud, and a hybrid cloud breakup happen in a simple way, and this app categorization happens. And I think that's a fundamental point as we look at embracing cloud, being a lot more clearer about where you're going to run which workload. And that's the last point in my presentation. So I hope you had a good overview about the hybrid, the analytics, security, and being more thoughtful about how and where you run those set of workloads. Thank you for your time, and look forward to interactions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing some very interesting examples with us. Now I invite Dr. Manoj Rajan, Additional Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms, Government of Karnataka, to please address the audience.
Well, speakers on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, for us since 2:30, there's a lot of insight, learnings personally for me on cloud computing. The theme for us, the speakers on the dais, is that initiatives and innovations in governance. My previous posting, 6 years with the Election Commission, and what the previous speaker Rajesh Agrawal said, we've been using it in Karnataka, using a huge 4.5 crores database over there, working efficiently, managing the electoral rolls, conduct of elections. The last 1 year, I've been posted as Additional Secretary. I would break the monotony of giving insights, views, apprehensions on cloud computing into actually what has happened in Karnataka. I will tell you all about the citizen-centric service delivery model in Karnataka. If you look at what is the initiative and innovations in governance, I would talk about this model. I would take 7 to 8 minutes explaining what has happened in Karnataka and how we are leveraging ICT as well as using analytics in governance and addressing the common man's issues, problems, service requests in the state of Karnataka. You're all aware about the right to public services. There are around 17 to 18 states in the country which have bought it in various names. In Karnataka, it is known as Sakala. Sakala in Kannada means in time or good time, and the name is coined by the citizens. To lay emphasis on this is that each one of us sitting here would have taken one or the other services from the government, be it a driving license, be it an income certificate, be it a PAN, be it a passport, be it whatsoever, a building license or a water connection or anything, or an entrepreneur getting a commercial license, shop license, etc. So first and foremost thing, when you ask a citizen how does he find dealing with the government, I would vouch that the answer would be on the negative side. The government of Karnataka in 2011 brought out a revolutionary program. The object was standardize and simplify citizen service delivery mechanism and make government accountable to its citizen. 2 years the project is on. Today we deliver 478 public services from 47 departments in a time-bound manner. I will just spell out the phases as well as what we are doing. A point to note is that these services should be delivered in a time-bound manner. When I say should be delivered, each of the services have got a stipulated time by which the government employee needs to deliver it to the citizen. So in the last 2 years, 49 million citizens have availed one or the other 478 services, and my numbers are accurate because I track each and every application, citizen service request that is being received across my 30,000 designated offices in the state of Karnataka. What triggered the innovation? The grievance galore. In fact, the trigger was a widow, an old woman who traveled all the way across Karnataka, around 480 kilometers, reaching the Chief Minister to be present as part of the Chief Minister's Janata Darshan. And that's the practice in many states also, that a particular period is given where the citizens reach the Chief Minister asking for certain requests. So one of the requests what she asked was, I am not getting my widow pension. The widow pension is around 400-500 rupees, and this lady has spent 2,000 rupees to come to the capital, staying, reaching early morning 4:35 o'clock, staying in the queue, meeting the Chief Minister at 7:30. This actually triggered the innovation, said that these public services shall be delivered in time. Make the officers accountable, bring in transparency, tell out what are the documents to provide, standardization, and all sort of things were brought into the fore. And how do we simplify the hugely complicated process of getting in government service? How do we curb the thriving middlemen and bring in government efficiencies? So this was done to make public service delivery citizen friendly. So you must be worrying, this is totally a different conclave on cloud. What has it got to do with this summit? Let me tell you, the challenge which we faced is that how do I converge 47 departments? Many of you who are here working in the government do know that each government department has its own set of idiosyncrasies and egos over there. You cannot say all of you come onto this platform. They will say, why should I come on this platform? What advantage I give? They will not allow you to kickstart the program. Then you have another situation where there are certain departments which have got an evolved system of computerization, like our commercial tax department, and you have another department which doesn't even have computers at their department's doorstep to deliver these services. So this is the heterogeneity in which we had to operate 2 years ago. Heterogeneity, various level of computerization, red tapeism, will not learn, and most importantly, it is 478 services. If I'm talking about a single company, I'm talking about 47 different factories, 478 product lines, heterogeneity over there. How do I converge all of them on a single platform? If I would have decided that I will develop software for each of these 47 departments, it will take me another 10 years to come up learning what is the requirement of the department and various all other issues. I started with a simple process of only documenting the service request and when it was delivered. If the service is rejected, for what reasons it has been rejected over there. We brought in a single portal. We said, each of these 478 services, you please tell me what is the workflow. What is the stipulated time which is required to deliver the services. For driving license, if it is 7 days, if it is passport, if it is 20 days. For A service, it is 7 days. For B service, 60 days. You let me know what is your process flow, who is accountable, what is the documents required. I will build the portal for you. We made a small web-based portal over there, started adding the 47 departments, 478 services as if this is the time when a citizen gives his application complete. This is the time when it should be delivered. This is what we bought, convergence of all the 47 departments, that a unique acknowledgement slip shall be generated from the portal. And this is the right of the citizen, that he should ask for this acknowledgement slip. From there the trigger button starts when this service needs to be delivered. From there the analysis starts, why it has been rejected. From there the analysis starts, when it was delivered, where there is pendency, where there is delayed disposal. And I can start looking into issues of augmenting and setting right business process re-engineering into these things. So my friends, here I would like to say is that analytics has been used very efficiently in this program. We have sorted out many issues. At the end of my slide presentation, I will tell you what are the reforms we have brought based on analysis alone. So what did we bring in? We brought in standardization of workflows, timelines. We promoted e-governance, augmented district infrastructure with computers as well as data entry operators, had a cloud server supported by NIC to deliver these services to all those departments. All that the departments need to do was to have access to internet. We started with 151 services in April 2012. A point which I would like to tell you is that a citizen-friendly initiative, though done by the previous government, has been embraced and taken forward in the present government. Also talks about the sustainability and the need of this program in the state of Karnataka. Though it was started by the previous government in April 2012, we had a new government in 2013. A series of 240 services were added, and today we have 478 services which have been delivered on this platform, of which 135 are online services being delivered. Now, I'll just take 40 seconds to just show you this. A citizen goes, watches out 7 days for that particular service, goes to a Sakala counter, gives details of his name, service required, gets this acknowledgement slip. Gets his certificate service back out over here. So citizen-friendly issues, call center, very widely used over there. A single call center for the entire state. 8 lakh phone calls have been received in the last 2 years, of which 75% are on procedures and how to get these services out over here. I've been given a call saying that to wrap up. So 49 million services been delivered on time, 98% within time and 2% within 3 days time delay over here. If you look at this bar graph, you can see the orange ones, which was a stipulated time, and now within 21 days. The average service delivery time for these 5 crore applications across Karnataka are in the blue one. These are the top 10 services. The orange one was the previous time which they had given, but actual delivery is on the blue. So you can see some 10 services over here, how it has been dropped down over here. Key achievements of the project: 100% transparency, accountability, empowering citizens to avail services as a matter of right. Delay in delivery of services causes a 20 rupees penal punishment on the employee over here. So citizen services have been made simple, and it is mandated that there is a display board in front of each of the office over there, and delay will attract 20 rupees. The penal punishment is less, but 7 such defaults will act disciplinary inquiry on the officials over there. And we must understand that slowly governance is now coming towards citizen. What was not a right is now a legal right for the citizens. Hence, we are not imposing. Otherwise, a 2% delay which I showed you, 8 lakh cases, I should have taken penal punishment. I have not exercised it willfully, saying that let there be a smooth shift over here. At least for 98% of the services were delivered within the time over here. In fact, these are some of the reforms. And if you look at the evaluation which has taken place now, citizens' response to the survey, before Sakala, 46% of the citizens said the employees were not polite, they were not helpful, they were not guiding them. Today, because they have these display boards, they have the call center, a help desk supporting them, 99% of the people are satisfied. This has been conducted by IIMRB, an international survey body which conducted 10,000 surveys and then gave us this report. Citizens are happy with delivery of Sakala services, and ease in application of services 95% compared to 37% over here. Even the employees themselves are now feeling proud that the mindset is changed and they can deliver in time. And lastly but not least, Sakala is replicable to other states. In fact, we have presented a case to the Government of India for RTPS, Right to Public Service over here. The software being developed by NIC can be scaled up. We are ISO compliant. Government organization getting ISO compliant maybe an rarity. And these are the states which have asked us for association and help on the right to services. And more importantly, we are engaging private cyber cafes to deliver for the rural digital divide, for the rural people, the online services. So we have entered into an MOU, no cost on the government side. Private cyber cafes enter an MOU and charge 5 rupees, 10 rupees per application. A new thing which we have started. We are seeing good results on these things over here. You can reach Sakala at these things. The portal is available, and you can see what we have made use of IT over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Mr. Korath B. Mathew, Senior Manager Projects, UIDAI. The keynote address is already with us, so I request Mr. Mathew to please address the audience.
Esteemed speakers on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to everyone. Doubt should I thank elets for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. I don't know if anybody has spoken about UID in the previous sessions, so I would relate this topic more as information for all of you and how this ID system is available on a SaaS model. So let's get into a little bit of basics for many of you, for some of you rather, and in the end I'll talk about the innovative applications using UID on a SaaS model. Unique ID is generated based on your biometrics and your demographics, but basically on your 10 fingerprints and 2 iris, and you given a 12-digit random generated number. And our status says, as of now, we've done 70 crores of enrollment, and 63 crores have been issued with Aadhaar as of now. The application side is more about authentication, and what UID does is provide a platform on a SaaS model rather. Are you who you say you claim to be? And that is what we are doing, verifying somebody's identification claim. And this is done on a, I'm quickly moving on to the first part of this presentation. This is done on a 1:1 match. So your demographic, alternately your biometrics, fingerprint, iris is matched with the central ID repository data which is already provided, and an yes or no answer is given. Many solutions, many applications have been rolled out. One is this East Godavari Andhra Pradesh application on public distribution system, where you can see a person putting his finger, and if these are authenticated practically in real time, the turnaround time is 4 to 5 seconds, and the at the CIDR, the whole process takes place in 200 milliseconds or less. So current status, we got 20,000 plus point of service terminals functioning, and we do almost 3 lakh transactions a day using this. And there are so many authentication user agencies who use this, and so far we've done successfully 8 crore plus transactions. And so far, no false acceptance have been reported. One of the other important platform is eKYC, Know Your Customer, electronically. So this eKYC service platform provides electronic format for instant, efficient and secure service delivery. The KYC is delivered, and let's say what is the basic difference. Originally, when you wanted to do some transaction, or you want to open a bank account, you want to get a mobile connection, you had to go with a whole lot of documents, get a photostat, scan it, etc., etc. All those is required, verification, etc. Now, you can, with the citizen's consent, get this KYC digitally on your screen, and it's also auditable. It goes straight into your core banking system as well, or to whatever authentication user server which you have. It also ensures privacy because there are no documents available for anybody to view, and so it's not only efficient but protects citizens' privacy too, and far more cheaper. eKYC, one of the best services which has been launched by UIDAI, compliance with IT Act, and it's state of the art in every respect. We have so many users, but eKYC users are, I'm just putting on the State Bank of India to lead with, and many more. So coming specifically to the Aadhaar enabled services, what are your simple authentication, Aadhaar enabled public distribution system, attendance system or access control system, disbursement of welfare pensions, etc. Using electronic KYC, you have opening of bank accounts, mobile connection, insurance policies, recruitment, like one can use it very effectively. APBS, what we call is Aadhaar Payment Bridge System, which talks about using the NPCI switch to actually disburse direct benefit transfer. And over 300 banks are onboarded on the APBS. Aadhaar enabled payment system, again using the NPCI switch, financial transactions take place. All banking transactions are available through Micro India, and these are portable business correspondents. Again, prepaid instruments also utilize Aadhaar enabled payment system. This is an innovative solution which has recently come up. I will be talking about it later. So, what is so great about it in comparison to the SaaS model which we are talking about? SaaS, cloud, or what we talk is ubiquitous, and here you have unique, universal and ubiquitous model of an online ID system. So, and how do you use this for innovative applications? We have so many innovative solutions. These are either in conceptual mode or in pilot mode. So, I'm just giving it this for the thought of everybody who's sitting here. See, one is to use it as a universal ID, verifiable online. Imagine you carrying multiple ID system with you, and supposing this is linked to Aadhaar. Most of the ID systems are actually not verifiable online, and here you have Aadhaar which is actually verifiable online. So it could be a very good single sign-on facility, may facilitate autofill and make your transaction much more efficient and paperless. It's also a financial address, probably the only system which is financial, only ID system which is also a financial address. And you don't have to carry multiple cards, saves you time and protects your identity as well. This is interesting application of access control attendance system which has been launched in Jharkhand. Another interesting innovative application is the prepaid instruments where let's say Airtel Money, how do they operate? They create a mobile wallet and they simply enter the Aadhaar number and the amount, and the concerned beneficiary can withdraw it from any Airtel outlet. So that is a prepaid. And so there are already 7 of them utilizing it. Here I talked about another innovative solution again, Aadhaar enabled passenger check-in system, which has been conceptualized in the railways. It's still in the conceptual stage, where at the time of booking a person is giving his Aadhaar, and the Aadhaar number and the PNR number is linked to, and it's so easy for him to check in. If it is a reserved passenger, he goes into a compartment and he enters merely the seat number and enters a fingerprint, gives a fingerprint, it gets authenticated, and the TT comes to know that such a passenger is checked in, and the system is all informed about it. So if passenger is not part of the train, obviously it goes into the waiting list. Passenger is automatically coming in, and the advantage here is that the TT doesn't bother you when you're in the middle of a sleep, because he knows in the system that the passenger is checked. It's an innovative solution that is possible. Similarly, we have airports. We conceptualized a prototype on the possible airport checking system here. As of now, you produce a PNR number and probably a proof of ID, but subsequently, if this concept is utilized, you at the time of again booking, you link your air ticket with your with the Aadhaar number, and the passenger when he comes in, he needs to enter the Aadhaar number and gives his fingerprint, and something like this is available where the ticket details and the person who's traveling, his ID details are also available on a screen for the CASF person to view. The greatest part is that without any interference, you have a secure check-in, and of course the airline and the security can monitor who exactly passenger who's traveling in this. Now, there was another interesting agency who talked about white label ATMs. He wanted to start an ATM using biometric identification using Aadhaar. So that's another innovative solution which is available. Another agency came up and wanted to say that they want to rent out bicycles and LED lights. These are available to them on around 2 crore of 2 lakhs of bicycles have been procured, and they want to issue to people who are so instead of taking any deposits, they want to simply authenticate and give him the bicycle. So he goes around, roaming around and deposit to the next person. But as long as it is authenticated through Aadhaar, the company feels that it is safe. And they feel that also made a statement that 95% of the people are reliable, and only 5% create all these frauds. So they feel that if you have the right person and identify the correct person and give this, it will be safely returned. There are many innovative solutions which I have talked about. I will leave this thought with you all to think more about Aadhaar and how it can be used for multiple solutions. It is available on a SaaS platform, and it's for you all to innovate and make the best use of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving us insights of the technology behind the Aadhaar project. And fortunately, we have the person who has built the Aadhaar for the country with the project Aadhaar, one of the leaders India has ever seen in the field of e-governance. We have with us Mr. R.S. Sharma. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. R.S. Sharma. We have another hero of governance with us. We have seen his work in RSBY project of Government of India. And he's also one of the keynote speakers today, in today's evening. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Anil Swaroop, Regional Secretary, Cabinet Secretary, Government of India. So we do the ceremony of this session. I request Dr. Ravi Gupta to give the mementos to all the speakers of this session. We'll start with Mr. Manoj Rajan, Additional Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms, Government of Karnataka. A round of applause for our speakers. Then we have Mr. Korath Mathew, Senior Manager Projects, UIDAI, Unique Identification Authority of India. And then from industry we have Mr. Srikanth Karnakota, Head of Servers and Cloud Platform Business of Microsoft India, which is our presenting partner today in CloudGov 2014. Now, with this, I invite